What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Contested NBA podcast. I'm your co-host, Ethan Cope, here once again with Alex Toma. Say what's
What
up.
up? What up?
If you watched the last episode, you know Max is kind of busy with going on with other things in his life right now. So we're just rolling with us too. Um, but yeah, we're just going to keep it going like we were before. So let's get right into it. Today is February 5th, 2021. So I mean, should we just start with Celtics Clippers?
Yeah, we could because we had two ESPN nationally televised games tonight. So we'll
Yeah.
talk about Celtics Clippers because we have a more in-depth convo on the Nets, so we can mention them after.
All right. You want to go first on what you saw?
Yeah, it seems like every time the Clippers and Celtics play, it's always like a close game. Even last year, both the games went to overtime and they're like
Yeah.
pretty entertaining. And today, both teams were missing their second best player. Jalen
Yeah.
Brown and PG were out, and also they're probably their best like defensive point guards with Beverly and Smart.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Sorry, just real quick. It was like I feel like it was even on both sides. Like entering the game, they were both
yeah,
missing like the same. They were both missing like the same exact
they're same
pieces.
like pieces. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, for the most part, the Clippers kind of had in control in the second half, and then third quarter, Tatum just did Tatum things,
Yeah.
did Tatum things.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's go, baby.
but and then in the fourth quarter, Clippers kind of climbed back a little bit, and
Mhm.
I felt when Kawhi was starting to get on a roll, he took a couple shots that were rushed. That last three and that post up
Yeah.
he had, I felt like there was too quick, and I think they were down by two at the time, and they almost had it. They almost had the steal, and then Kawhi coughed it up on the fast break. Kemba came down, hit that jumper that he missed against the
Mhm.
Lakers. Same exact play
Yeah. The
coming off
same
the
step
steal.
back on the left
Yeah,
wing. Yeah.
yeah, and this tonight he had a bad first half, like you said
Mhm.
earlier, but he stepped up in the second half.
Yeah, I feel like tonight was the stereotypical like tale of two halves
Yeah,
because I was driving home like watching the game on my phone and I was just like, damn, I was like, bro, are the Celtics really like a bad team? Like, do we need a big man that bad? But then the second half, it just completely flipped. And Tatum was playing good like the whole game, I think, personally.
yeah,
But um Kemba turned it around. I thought Carson Edwards played really well off the bench, which is huge because Jeff Teague has been very lackluster this
he
year.
Carson had those. He made all three of his free throws in the fourth, and those were huge to kind of give the Celtics separation.
Yeah, I also thought I don't know where Tice was tonight. I think he didn't play.
He played the first half, and then he didn't get like injured. He had like knee soreness, so I guess
Oh, okay.
they
I
kept him out.
literally just thought about that. I was like, I definitely didn't see Tice at all that game.
Yeah, no,
But yeah, so I thought Tristan Thompson played really well. And I like Tristan Thompson, but tonight still didn't change my opinion on the fact that we need like a more consistent rebounder because in the first half we were getting obliterated on the boards. Like it was really, really bad.
yeah.
So but I like how Tristan Thompson turned around. He was aggressive in the paint. He hit those two clutch free throws at the end, which I was shocked about. I did not expect that to happen. Neither did any other NBA
Yeah,
fan.
they did what he had to do though.
Yeah.
Ice the game.
Like you said, Tatum kind of took control of the game, which I really like. Kemba came up huge in the second half, which is, as a Celtics fan, that's what I've been waiting for because I really like Kemba and I still think he's like a top 10 point guard in this league.
Sure.
And, just coming off that knee injury, I think it's just taking him a little bit, but who knows? Maybe this will be his breakout game.
Yeah, I called it. I was like, he'll show up more tonight against Clippers.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, besides that, I still, like I said, still feel like we need another interior player. Maybe Drummond gets bought out. Um, maybe trade for, or maybe sign. I don't know. We could sign Dwayne Dedman, who's available. Just like we really just need like a
Some bodies,
yeah.
some
And
big
with
bodies.
the Gordon Hayward trade exception, you mentioned this to me earlier this week. But with that, we could sign Drummond, and it wouldn't affect our cap space.
I think so, yeah, because that trade exception is like huge. I don't know
Yeah,
what Drummond's salary is, but I would assume it's around that 20
I think
something
it's
million
around.
range.
I think it's around like 28 million.
And I think that's reasonable because I'd honestly be surprised if Drummond nets a first from like any other team.
Yeah, I don't
So
think so.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's like a Drummond for like some second rounders and then like a filler player or something.
Yeah, no, I would love to add Drummond, and I've been critical of Drummond before, but I mean, he still gets like 16, 15 boards a game, and the
Yeah,
Celtics need that so bad. And if that's all he does, then fine, but he'll add that interior presence at least,
he's a
and he'll
big
help out
dude.
a lot on the boards, especially offensive boards, which have been a real struggle for the Celtics this year.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you wanted to add on that game?
Uh, Not much. Just a pretty good game. I felt like, despite
Yeah.
players being out.
Yeah. I guess I mean, the outcome probably would have been different if all players are healthy because you got to factor in maybe PG has a good night, Jalen Brown doesn't shoot well, or Marcus Smart
Yeah,
drops 20 for whatever reason.
it's one of those
But
7 threes that game.
yeah. All right. So now that we've gone over that, let's get into the game right before that. So, um, God damn, I can't think.
Raptors
Raptors
Nets.
Nets.
Yeah,
Your thoughts?
I
I'm
mean,
probably gonna have the same thoughts as you, but it's like obvious with the Nets at this point. But go ahead.
yeah, I mean, we'll get into like why the game was weird after that with the whole KD situation, but
Yeah.
it seems like the Nets have like really embraced we're gonna like outscore you. And since KD wasn't there today, they probably were missing his
Hmm.
like 20 something points because I think the final score was like 123 to 117.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the Raptors kind of like built a good cushion for themselves in the first half or so, first quarter. They got up
Yeah.
to like, I don't think it was 20 points, but it was pretty close to it. And
I think it was like
it was,
like
yeah,
17 or something. But
yeah, it
yeah.
was like, yeah,
Yeah.
50 to 33. It was like the score I remember. And of course, Nets just doing what they do, coming down. They start hitting. Joe Harris is like, I think that guy's going to make it every single time he
Yeah.
shoots. So,
I learned today that he's shooting almost 50% from 3 this year.
yeah.
And so he's been really good for the Nets.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same thing with the Nets. I mean, they give up a lot of points, and if they're not scoring, that's how they're going to win games. They're going to score. We know what their identity is at this
Mm.
point.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I'd still like come playoff time, you're gonna need a big. Like they need to make a move soon before people are taken. If it means a Drummond buyout, then good for them. But
If that Drummond buyout happens, that'd be messed up, bro. They'd be so stacked.
yeah, but they really need it because they got like eaten alive in the paint today.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of, because obviously D'Antoni is on Nash's staff, and
Hmm.
they did it against the Clippers. They started Jeff Green at center, and I think he started tonight at center as well. I don't
I
think it
think
was,
so.
I don't think it was DeAndre starting, and I think maybe they might start to embrace kind of the small ball version of the Rockets. And obviously, it didn't work with Houston, but I mean, when you have Kyrie, Harden, and KD,
It
that
might work.
small ball,
It
yeah,
might work.
it might work with those guys. So
Yeah, they're just like I just think like come playoff time, they're gonna get eaten alive by like Embiid and Giannis and Bam.
yeah, I would say like come playoff time, the teams that I feel like they would struggle defensively are teams with like bigs.
Yeah.
Because like when Kyrie and Harden try, like they're not like negative defenders. Like they could
Kyrie
defend.
is a really solid defender when he actually tries.
And like I know all the jokes about Harden being fat, but that really helps him in the post. He's a really good
Yeah, it so
post defender.
does. That's so funny.
I also feel like KD's kind of an underrated defender. I feel like no one
Yeah.
ever like speaks about him. So
I
I mean,
can't remember who said it, but KD's like opponent field goal percentage is
I think it
like
was
the
Grant.
best in the league right
Shout
now.
out Grant. I think it was him.
He's averaging, yeah, I think so. But he's averaging like a steal and a half too. Like I think not having Kevin Durant obviously hurt tonight, and I mean we'll get into that, but they were also horrible in transition tonight. I think in transition, the Raptors. I know this is just after like one quarter, but that was kind of the story of the
Yeah.
whole night. I mean, the Raptors outscored them like 17-2 in transition in the first quarter. They had like 38 points in the paint by halftime, which is ridiculous. Like that's absurd to
Yeah,
have
that
that many
is.
points in one half in the
Yeah.
paint. But
They don't even have a big like that too.
yeah, I mean, it's
So
just the defensive side for the Nets is just not looking good. And I think they have like the worst defensive rating since the Harden trade.
yeah, I was gonna mention. So since the Harden trade, they're 7-4,
Mhm.
and like you said, they've had the best offensive like margin so far in NBA history, but also the
Yeah.
best like defensive rating in NBA history, or the worst defensive rating in NBA
Uh
history.
yeah.
I don't think that'll stand honestly. Maybe it will if they just don't try, but they really have pieces like to not be the worst defensive team of all
Yeah.
time.
I mean, like DeAndre Jordan is like nothing in the paint.
No, he's washed.
I like you can I think tonight what he did well, which was he always does well, a little bit of pick and roll, throw some lobs up to him.
Yeah,
He'll
that's
get
his
some
like
boards.
Harden really feeds him that
But
lob.
that's like his ceiling.
Yeah.
That's like the most that he does on the court. And like defensively, I mean, Pascal Siakam ate tonight. And if
It's
you
been
know
rough.
Pascal Siakam's, well, exactly. If you know Pascal Siakam's game, he's a lot of those points come in the paint, where he's
Yeah.
really good and versatile and getting around defenders in the paint. And yeah, I mean, I didn't think like any of their defense was good tonight or has been at all since the Harden trade.
Yeah, and I want to say kind of go over the Nets. So like I said, they've been 7-4, but the thing is like when they've lost, it's been like historically
Ugly.
bad. Like it's been really bad, and they also have like a couple really impressive wins against the Bucks and Clippers. And in
Yeah,
those and
those are
yeah,
great wins.
and I know the Clippers still scored 120, and I think the Bucks still scored around that range, but at least it wasn't like 150. You
Yeah,
know,
like they gave up to the Wizards.
they gave up like almost 150 to the Wizards. They gave up like 130 something like the Cavs and like back to
The
back games.
Cavs,
It felt
yeah,
like,
the Cavs scored. Well, one of the games went into double overtime, but still, I
yeah,
mean, no team should be hitting 140 points, no matter. I mean, I guess if you get to like quadruple overtime or something, but like
yeah,
that wasn't the case. It was just double overtime.
yeah. It
But
was double
yeah,
overtime, 147, and then the next game 125 in regulation.
yeah,
And
it's ugh.
like they beat the Thunder 147 to 125, but it's like who the hell is on the Thunder to get
I
125
know.
points? Probably scared the most because of
Yeah,
Giannis and Embiid. I know the
mhm,
Heat would Bam, but they've been struggling, so
yeah,
not really gonna mention them. But their three offensive weapons are just too much. Like even against the Clippers, like they won by 4, but like it took Kyrie scoring 37, and if that's how they're gonna win, that's how they're gonna win.
yeah. Oh, but also, I mean, the Nets played the Heat in back-to-back games last week, and Bam ate in both games. So I mean,
And
it
they won,
just
so
yeah, they won one of those games. So I mean, it's just
yeah,
I mean, everyone knows it. Their interior defense is horrid. They need a big man bad. And
yeah.
it doesn't even have to be like a Drummond. It could literally, like I mentioned earlier, Dwayne Dedman is a free agent.
Yeah, they just need like someone to like they don't need a stopper. They just need someone to hold down the fort.
Yeah, like a
That's
I don't
it.
know, like a Chris Boucher level or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really think JaVale's gonna end up being a net.
I wouldn't
It
even like
seems.
that would help so much.
Yeah, I mean, so the Cavs have Jared Allen, Drummond, and JaVale. So if I have to bet money, I'd bet they get either Drummond or JaVale at some point.
Yeah, it definitely won't be Jared Allen.
No,
But
of course not.
all right, so today's controversy because
Still
I
in the
didn't expect
Nets.
this shit to happen. Sticking with the Nets just because thought it would be a good transition. But KD tonight, if you haven't seen the news, February 5th, KD started out the game in health and safety protocols. So he came into contact with someone who had
First, it was an inconclusive test.
yeah, so he had come into contact with someone with an inconclusive test. God damn. And then So he was held off, and then I think they like tested negative or something, and he was able to come back on the floor. And then another inconclusive test came back for that person, so they pulled him off the floor even though he was already playing.
It doesn't make sense, man.
No, it doesn't at all. But like, so I know, like, I guess you could factor that into the Nets losing today, and Kyrie and Harden were both off. I mean, it was just a weird game for the Nets, and they were still able to put up 117 points. But
Yeah, that's nuts.
yeah, I don't know what it is, but Adam Silver needs to fix his health and safety protocol shit because that
And
was embarrassing.
it felt like it started to like get better, and then you start hearing about the All-Star game, and then now today with the whole KD situation,
Yeah,
because
it's
the COVID like test started to come back more positive at some point, and it started to crack down a little bit. You didn't hear it as much. Teams started playing again. Like for
mhm,
example, the Wizards, they like got decimated by it. They had a shit ton of their games postponed, but for the
mhm.
most part, like the schedule hasn't been too wonky. Teams have been playing, but tonight was just a fuck up, like
Yeah, I
straight up.
think I personally think, like you said, like I think it's been handled well so far. You postpone some games, you're gonna make them up later in the year or like the second half of the season,
Yeah,
and it hasn't been like too much of a problem. Um, Especially because basketball, you can play like back to back days. Where in instances for like football, you can't make people go out and play 60 minutes of football back to back days.
yeah,
But yeah, I thought it had been handled well, and like right now, it's like in a really bad spot, like you said, like with the All Star game, and LeBron has spoken, so um,
look, commissioner.
La commissioner, La GM,
Yeah,
but yeah, so De'Aaron Fox spoke out about it too, saying it was like just literally, he's just like straight up, it's dumb,
yeah.
and I personally think it's dumb too, because then with the All Star game, you kind of just ruin the season.
Like, and with the first of all, they're so smart. They're having the All Star game in Atlanta where everything's open.
Yeah,
Um,
like I just want to add, like, why would you have it in a state in the South? They don't
uh,
care about COVID.
but it's like they're gonna put their whole like top tier players at risk.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know what I mean?
So that means everyone from ranging from like LeBron all the way down to I don't freaking know, like Zach Levine's level, are
Yeah,
now all could have COVID, and just like not only does that affect every team, but then you start losing views with your star players out. You start losing money because games are postponed.
I know.
And
It's like, what do you like if someone has like COVID at the All Star game? That means like assuming like Tatum and Brown are probably going to be out for safe and healthy protocols.
yeah,
PG and Kawhi, LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, if there's a case of like something spreading at the All Star game, these like top level talents are going to be missing
mm,
time, and it's going to hurt the product, like you said, and then hurt the team. And there's no point for the All Star game too, so it's just dumb. Like, and no one wants to play.
yeah. LeBron brought up a great point too, though. When he was talking about like how like they just played like a few months before the season, like 2 months before the season started. Like those
Yeah.
players that were in the bubble for that extended period of time, they need that extra break in between. Like they're not going to be able, like, I know LeBron spends like millions of dollars on his body every year, but they're still not like superhuman.
Yeah.
So to only have them like only give them like 2-3 months off, which is understandable. I know why they did that, obviously, but to have the All-Star game after saying you weren't going to when
Right.
like people are
That's
going
the
to need
messed
that
up part.
break. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
because LeBron
just
brought that up also as like slap in the face. They agreed not to have an All Star game, and it just shows like obviously Adam Silver doesn't care about COVID. I mean, we
no, he
we
wants to make the
we
money
all
back.
yeah, we all knew this. Like, I'm not gonna like shit on the guy. Like everything's a
Yeah.
business. It comes down to money.
He's
Like,
a rich white man.
yeah, whether like it's like morals, it doesn't come into these things with like these big money makers. So
Mhm. Yeah.
it's about getting some revenue from the All-Star game, but it's gonna be a shitty All-Star game, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, and I'm hoping that they just canceled the All-Star game flat out and like All-Star weekend in general. And you get the results, the players get that All-Star on their resume, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
if they really are All-Stars, they'll be back in the All-Star game next year. But
Yeah. Like add it to your
yeah.
resume, like you said, and just don't have the game. Like
Yeah,
uh,
it's just it's gonna be, I
I
think.
don't want to see an All Star game. I don't care for it. I think most NBA fans don't care for it.
Yeah, and the All-Star game was great last year, and I'm sure they would keep that same format, but like not this year, man.
With
COVID
limited
hasn't
fans in the audience too.
Yeah, like
Like,
COVID hasn't been solved like whatsoever. I think they're at like 500,000 cases of death from COVID in the US alone.
yeah,
So, you know, obviously, they're s- athletes, so they would get special treatment, blah, blah, blah. But, I just don't think you risk that. I think it's stupid of Adam Silver to even like suggest that we have an all-star game, let alone have it in Atlanta, like you said. So,
yeah.
yeah,
What could go wrong?
I think with the handling of COVID, Adam Silver has really gotten a bad taste in players and fans' mouths like this past week. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, I don't know. It
Like
was very
and
questionable
just
decision.
yeah, just one more thing on like the protocols. Like obviously something's off, and it's not like I don't know if it's uniform or not because KD had the inconclusive test and he ended up playing today,
Hmm.
while like Kawhi and PG missed a couple games. It was on a road trip, but they kept testing negative. So I don't know what their health and safety protocols are exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like after tonight, it's like hard to understand
Yeah.
where they're at with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, Adam Silver's got to get his shit together. Hopefully he cancels. I hope he
I
cancels the
hope
All-Star
so.
game.
Could you imagine getting a notification all like 15 players from each conference or 12 players, whatever it is,
Yeah,
all
but
are
the
out?
thing is, like, like the real questionable part about KD today was the fact I don't even think it was like he was let in the game like late or whatever, but the fact that they pulled him back out like after he went in the game,
Playing,
made contact with a bunch of people and his teammates, and now the whole Brooklyn Nets team is flying to Philly,
but KD's not.
but Katie's not. Yeah, like that's where it starts getting questionable.
He only just played basketball with everyone on the team and probably
Yeah,
like
I know.
shook their hands in the locker room. Like I don't know. So,
Like I just it's so dumb. It's so
but
stupid.
we'll probably get the notification that the game's been postponed for Brooklyn and Philly.
Yeah, we will whenever that is. I'm sure in a couple days, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, Adam Silver's got to get his shit right.
He if he just cancels the All Star game, like that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't need much more, but that All Star game, it's like
and I know for
makes no
like
sense.
I think even like first time All Stars would understand. Like you got Zach Levine, who's probably an All Star, Bradley Beal, Jalen Brown. You got who in the West? I don't remember, but
Well, like younger players that
yeah, younger players that don't have that all-star experience, which is,
yeah,
like a once in a lifetime experience to have like that all-star game weekend,
yeah.
but it just can't be this year.
Yeah, it just can't. And I know at that point, like people brought up like when the Lakers won the title, like it probably sucked for like the like players that won their first chip and they can't experience a parade and all
Yeah,
this
that's
stuff.
that sucks,
It
man.
it sucks, but I mean that's just what we're dealing with right now. And
Yeah.
it,
Unfortunately, because this should have been solved a long fucking time ago.
but yeah, Adam Silver just gotta wrap up the All Star game. I mean, I hope after hearing all the players' responses on it, he'll realize that it's going to be a shitty product anyway. So
Yeah, it's like you're gonna get barely any views for that all-star game.
I know,
He'll barely bring in any revenue to the point where I really don't think having an all-star game would make any difference.
and I don't even know like if the players just don't show up, like what they get fined.
Yeah, you can't. I don't even think like you can do that.
Like I don't know,
I don't think you can find them.
like watch if they have an All Star game, Kawhi's going to be out with like a load management knee issue for the All Star game.
LeBron
So
is. I don't know, man.
Groin.
It's
His groin's hurt again.
Brown's groin. No, it's
Yeah.
just it's a really just I don't know, just bad bad taste in the NBA community's mouths for what Adam Silver's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah.
It's just a bad look.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to really say about it. But trying to think, is there anything else? I think that kind of wraps it
Yeah.
up. This podcast was pretty short.
Yeah. I think we should kind of give a little insight of what we might start doing.
Oh, right. I completely forgot about that. So, from the minds of Alex, um, we, meaning Alex and I, because Max is obviously, in his hiatus. Um,
Bubble.
but so each week we're gonna keep doing our, we're gonna start doing our group, I guess, like I don't freaking know, our group podcast, like what we normally do. We're gonna start posting weekly. Um,
Solo pods to kind of get out more
to
content
get
out
them,
there. Yeah.
yeah, and then we'll still have like our group podcast where we kind of like go over big stories, stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, we're gonna
We're
start doing
still
solo
yeah.
podcasts each
We're
week.
still working out the details on what exactly the solo pod is, but expect that. And we'll still, like
Hmm.
you said, throw in the group podcast. I'm sure we'll have a group episode on who we think the All Star starters are, or who would we pick.
Yeah, we'll definitely have that like
So
next week or something.
yeah,
But yeah. So make sure to tune in for that. That's gonna wrap it up today. Um, damn. Usually Max does the outro.
well,
But
yeah, there you go. Let me try it. I've never done the outro,
all
so
right,
let's
go
go.
ahead. Go ahead.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Again, we got me, Alex Toma, co-host, the other co-host Ethan Cope,
What up, guys?
and remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We also have a YouTube channel, Contested NBA Podcast. Please tune in, show your love. We appreciate it.
And Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be down below. So yeah,
Check it out. And if you
check it out in the link in bio.
and as Max would say, if there's anything you disagree with, go ahead and contest it.
We'll
See
see
y'all.
you guys next time. All right. Cool.